I just had an interesting morning. All right, so I get a phone call, okay? And the phone call says, please tell me you're trolling. Now, trolling is a very interesting word, by the way. Like, apparently that's lighthearted and playful. I guess, like in today's era, that's a lighthearted, playful term. I can only tell you, when I used to be in the dentist's office as a little kid and my mother would take me, there was a book there about trolls. And there were these three things. And they lived underneath a bridge. A troll specifically had to live underneath a bridge. It had to have no home. It wasn't overly pleasant. And it had warts. And every time I went to that dentist's office, which was every 6 months for however many years of my life, I read the same book about trolls. Like, troll was a negative connotation. But now people will call themselves a troll. Like, oh, I'm just a troll on the internet. Well, I don't want to be a troll. I am not a troll. I am not a self-proclaimed troll. I don't like when people call me a troll. I don't think that it is a positive word, though I admit many people will use it as positive. But the call says, please tell me that you're trolling. Then the caller sends me to my text messages my own article, which says, Chael Sonnen says, the Jones versus Aspinall fight is done all the way down to the date. Okay. I might have said that. I also did believe that to be true. So, I do remember when I tell you I might have said that. It'd be real easy to know. I'd film everything and put it out. But one thing I do know I told you, word for word for word for word. I told you Tom Aspinall's next fight is done. But I don't know that it will be against Jon Jones. I then told you if Jon Jones fights again, Jon Jones' next fight will be against Tom Aspinall. I told you that. And before you thought this was like a game, like, well, if Conor comes back, he's going to fight my sister, because you know Conor's not coming back. Like, no, I went further to tell you, I fully believe that Jon Jones will fight again. Oh, by the way, his next fight will be against Tom Aspinall. This is how I worded it. And I picked my words very carefully because I am fully aware of the rumor. Now, you guys probably haven't heard this. You're probably getting this right from me. From the time this leaves my mouth to the time we get this to California, turned around and onto the internet, is going to be about 40 minutes. So the only way I get scooped on this is if somebody hits me in 40 minutes. But the current plan right now, Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? For the interim championship. Now, I will back the moves. I will back the moves with full integrity in place because our overarching theme, right, our constitution itself within the sport of MMA is we fiercely adhere to the rules that we make up as we go. So, I'm on board. And I like anything that ends in World Championship. I want it to be anything that ends in World Championships. I don't care if you put WEC in front of it, UFC in front of it, Pride in front of it, lightweight in front of it, heavyweight in front of it, interim in front of it. I didn't care. Don't now. If it ends in World Champion. And I was taught that by my wrestling coach, Roy Pittman, who, when it was time to leave the nest and go off to college, told me a national championship does not matter if they put NCAA Division II, junior college, NAIA. He said, doesn't matter. You go anywhere you want. But your goal is the same. And wherever you go, if you win all the matches, they're going to call you a national champion. Who cares what they put in the front spot of the trophy? Great. Now, you may agree with that. You may disagree with that. I'm just sharing. For me. But that's a pretty hard sell. It's just, right? Like, there's not. I can't go get the manual out and turn to page such and such. I just can't do it. and show you a bylaw that this is infringing against. I can't do it. But I do know that the Oxford English Dictionary, I do know that the laws of logic, I do know that the rules of reason do not allow you to have an interim champion in the presence of an undisputed champion. They cannot coexist. You cannot be alive while being dead. So you also can't have an undisputed champion in the presence of an interim champion. An interim champion is what is disputing the disputedness of the disputed. But not only are we going to have both, we are going to contend for a second time. The interim championship. But we're going to do it for the first time in the presence of our undisputed champion. And we may or may not be doing that in 9 weeks at International Fight Weekend. Now, I mentioned it was Gane. I mentioned it was Ciryl Gane. Now, this was a play that was in motion. Like there's none of this that's a surprise aside from the time delay. When Ciryl Gane went out and fought Volkov, I told you guys in no uncertain terms, if Ciryl has the right performance, he will become the number one contender. He will be used as a chess piece on the board to bring Jon and Tom together. The same thing was true for Alex Pereira when he took on Ankalaev. He would have been used in this same chess piece on the board of bringing Tom and Jon together. What we have here, though, is an inability to make a fight while choosing not to fight. I mean, usually promotion 101, no different than what you would have done on the playground. If two guys had a problem and two guys are going around the school and they're talking all sorts of trash about one another, there is going to be a time that's going to be agreed upon by some third party is going to put this together. Hey, meet him here, and he said he'll meet you here. And if either one of those guys flinches, he loses. And he doesn't get to try again tomorrow, and he doesn't get to try again junior year. It's over. It's over for the entire time that you are all classmates. Those rules carry over to the octagon. But if you're going to do this for the interim championship, you're not going to strip an undisputed champion who clearly is refusing to fight. If we end up in this situation, which the voice on the other end of the phone told me is the situation. Now, I got to tell you, that in and of itself is a little bit hard. I have defended Jon Jones everywhere I've gone. I do not think Jon Jones has flinched. I do not think Jon Jones walked around that school talking trash and refused to show up. I don't think Jon Jones will ever refuse to show up. I think Jon Jones went, trolled, had a little bit of fun in the media, but that's not the litmus test. The litmus test is when Jon's phone rings, does he say any word other than yes? Any word. If he talks about my shoulder, he talks about a funeral, he talks about a class reunion, he talks about I gotta get a talent, he talks about I gotta ask my wife. Whatever it is, you get one shot. Is the word yes? If it's not, you then go into the category of delaying a fight, and you go into the eligibility of having your belt stripped. As a matter of fact, it's the exact reason we strip people in the first place. We didn't used to strip them due to illness or injury. The entire reason we strip somebody is because they were a champion who refused to fight. But we've decided that we don't want to fight, if this story is true. We've decided that we are going to go along to get along. It's going to buy Jon a little bit of time. He needs 6 months. Aspinall does not need 6 months, but he does need a paycheck, so we're going to go ahead and get on with it. And we are going to risk Jon versus Tom. We not only risk Jon versus Tom, we also risk having to get Ciryl in there with Jones again. We've never had a heavyweight that's been more terrified to fight another heavyweight. Not to mention he was fighting a light heavyweight. But I'm just sharing, and Ciryl Gane seems like a perfectly nice guy, but I'm sharing with you, he was terrified. He did not fight him. I don't know who the better fighter is between Jones and Ciryl, because I never saw them fight, and neither did you. Ciryl did not fight that night. So the mere idea that we would even flirt with the idea that we would redo that fight will headline a pay-per-view the same time that it's co-main evented by Francis and Derek Lewis. Putting Francis and Derek Lewis in there is equally, it's not more or less, it is equally as ridiculous as putting Jones in there with Ciryl. And for the exact same reasons. But I'm here to tell you, according to a remarkably good source, Jon Jones is going to be afforded the ability to wait 180 days, which is equivalent to 6 months, which is what he asked for. Tom Aspinall is going to fight with Ciryl Gane, which was, in fact, on the table many months ago, and then Ciryl was gifted a decision in a fight that he lost against Volkov. That's the way the story happened. And now we're going to defend an interim champion with the existence of an undisputed champion, which is against the laws of logic and the Oxford English Dictionary's definition of champion, as well as undisputed, as well as interim. But we are going to adhere to the one thing that we do consistently. We're going to closely follow the rules that we make up as we go.